Hello everyone, it is Technique Tuesday and it is August the 20th, 2024. My name is Linda Doggy. I'm very excited to be with you for another of our fantastic Technique Tuesdays. How is everyone today? How are you all well? I'm just scrolling through the comments. There's a few, so I'm not going to be able to scroll through them all, but I can see we have a good crowd here, as often we do. In fact, you guys are all here and chatting, and my counter still says 0 because it takes a few seconds or a minute or so after I go live for the counter to actually update. So it still says there's no one here, but I know that's not true. Looking at comments. Hello, Suzanne. Hello, Sheila. What was that about a red velvet cake? Ooh, that sounds fancy. Hello, Leslie. How are you? Hello, Marty. You're still awake, I see. I hope you can manage it tonight, and I hope I don't put you to sleep. Hello, Maria. I'm very well. Thank you very much for asking. And Chris is here, and Julianne is here, and Nicole is here. Jolene, hi. Barbara's here. We have a very good crowd. Hello, Ronnie. And did I see Margaret was here earlier? She said, see you in see you in 57 minutes. So I'm assuming you're here, Margaret. So hello to you. Hello, everyone. All right. Shall we get started? I sort of debated about what to do today for our technique this week, and I decided to show you a style of card rather than an actual card making technique. So today I thought we'd have a little play and I'd do some pinwheel cards. Now, I'm not talking about the pinwheel tower card. That's a totally different card style again, and you will see that one coming up at some point. But I have actually made up a couple of samples with pinwheels on cards. Who's done pinwheel cards or pinwheels on cards before? I'm going to call them pinwheel cards, but it's more about what's on the card rather than the style of card. Does anyone know what I mean? Let's come over to the desk. Now, one of the reasons I'm doing that this month is because we have a current paper sale. Right now, we have designer series paper out of this catalogue. The annual catalogue is on sale 15% off. Okay. Now, if you are a customer, 15% is fantastic because you only need a couple of packs of cardstock and you've got your postage paid for. So that's really good. Sorry, not cardstock, pattern paper. We're talking about pattern paper out of this catalogue, and it's not the specialty paper. It's all the regular papers, excluding the colour family papers. But if you turn to page, let's see, the index is right up here in the back, and it's on page 140. And if you look over here, halfway down the third column on page 140, it says designer series paper. So cardstock is shown there, and then designer series paper. And the reason it's shown the way it is that the designer series paper is spread out through the catalogue. So it's all over the place, but they've listed it here in alphabetical order, so it makes it a bit easier to find and then gives you the page number that you'll find it on. And that's why the page numbers jump around. They're not all on one page like they used to be. They are spread throughout the catalogue. So I hope that makes sense, what I'm saying. Everything you see me using today is available for purchase. And I will have straight immediately after this video, I will go in and edit the description below the video so that it has all the links to the online store for you. My details if you need to get in touch, or if you need to sign up to a newsletter or any of those things, that will all be in the description below the video straight immediately after. Okay, so that's how I do it normally. Sheila, you said you tried once, not a roaring success. Do you mean, I'm assuming you're not talking about red velvet cake now. We're talking about pinwheel cards, right? So you guys have moved on. Jennifer, you're in Dan Murphy's car park. Oh, hello. That's very auspicious. That's very, very, very cute. So let me just show you a couple of examples of what I'm talking about. This is what I would call a pinwheel card. And the reason I'm choosing this, like I said, is because I wanted to highlight some of the paper that's on sale. This is actually the Full of Life paper. And I will show you a little bit more about that. This is a pinwheel card. This particular pinwheel is as big as I would want to put on a card, and it does have a problem, and that is you couldn't put it in an envelope, or if you did, it would get all flattened down. And I guess you could flatten it down, it would still look okay, but I like it when it's all fluffed up like this, like curled over. So we'll talk about that. And then there's this style of pinwheel card. This one does fit in an envelope, okay, because it's flat, as you can see. And there's a few different styles. And then there's a couple of different things we can do with that. Does everyone know how to do these, or has anyone done them before? That was my question that I asked a little while ago. So Sheila, you said yep. That was yep to my talking about pinwheels, right? So let's talk about a couple of different ways to do them. And I think they're a lot of fun. And they're sort of bright, happy kind of things. Really great for kids' birthdays or any birthday that you want to be a bright, happy one. You haven't tried, Leslie? Oh, you call that a windmill card? Yes, it could be a windmill. I can see why you would call that a windmill card. But I've been calling it a pinwheel card. But that's what, these remind me of, going to the, the fetes, the school fete when we were little, or, the local carnival. And, they had these things on sticks and you would blow them or you'd hold them in the wind and they'd turn around. And that was lots of fun. This one doesn't turn around. I've actually put mine in place. But I'm sure we could probably get really fancy and do turny roundy ones. But anyway, this one's another style, okay? And you might be able to see I've actually embossed this one so it looks like it's quilted. Looks like a quilt design, doesn't it? So yeah, lots and lots of fun you can have with these. And let's start. The second one is a pinwheel card. I call them both pinwheel cards, but I think I can understand why you would call them windmill cards. All right, let's do the first one. And I picked some paper. This is actually I've already cut these up, and I'm going to show you how I did this. I picked this is paper, the Countryside Inn paper, and it has two-side paper. All of our DSP is two-sided, the standard DSP. And part of the reason that I went looking for these, when you go looking in the catalogue, some papers don't have a perfect match from one side to the other. And this, because you're going to see both sides of the paper, so you can see when I've curled it over, you can see the navy on the back, and then you can see the white with the flowers on the front. Okay, can everyone see what I'm talking about? So you want to pick a paper that the back and the front coordinate, because sometimes they don't. Yes, a country fair, exactly right, Marty. That's what I'm thinking of in the local amusement park. Exactly. That's what they remind. They have good memories associated with these things, I think. So when we look at some of the sweets, I am going to use this one today. This is the Unbounded Beauty, because quite a lot of these papers match up. Now, I'll use this one for the second style card, and I'll show you why. This one I'm using because the front and the back coordinate so well. Some of these, the front and back coordinate, and some of them not so great. So these two look really, really good. And I did do one with those earlier. Do I still have that one? Is that the one? Oh, that's the one I showed you before. So that's this one. All right. These two together. You can see I've got that stripy petunia pop kind of paper there. And then the other side is this one, the Summer Splash with the petunia pop flowers. Okay. So those go together really well. So you're going looking for paper that has matching front and back. I didn't worry about the wooden ones. These weren't bright enough. I wanted really bright, happy colors, so I didn't go with these ones at all. I didn't entertain that idea. You possibly could do these, but you would lose the scenery, so I didn't worry about those ones either. I don't have the Lily Pond Lane. I did use Full of Life because that's really cool and lots of bright, happy colors. Oh, you donated it and you were using it for tea bag folding. I remember tea bag folding. Remember those? And Marie's talking about that too. Yeah, very, very cool, that sort of stuff. Now, this one, nice, but not bright enough for me. I love the vintage look at this paper, but and all of these papers are on sale right now. So if you love any of them, it's a good time to get them. I don't have To Market. I don't have Take to the Sky. I do have, you could do Mediterranean Blooms, but I think these work best with smaller designs, in my opinion. So some of these oranges and lemons are a little big. But anyway, that's the main stuff I was thinking about when I was putting these together. So let's have a start. You're going to need, for this, 2 squares. What size squares? All right, so this one, I had a look. When I did this one, and like I said before, it's as big as I would want to go, okay? These are 2.5 inches square, these squares. All right, let me just grab my trimmer for a second. So 2.5 inches is about 6.5 centimeters, roughly. But if I go any bigger than that, I'm going to be going, in fact, if I turned the pinwheel so that the point was going towards the top, it did go over the edges. So I didn't want to do that. So I went a little bit smaller. So these squares are 2.25 inches, and these are going to be a better fit. Okay, so you could also go with 2 inches if you think that's still too big, but let's try 2.25 and see how we go. And then what you're going to do, you're going to use these 2 squares, and you're going to I'm about to get into geometry, guys. Who would have thought you would ever need geometry for card making, but I'll show you why. Okay, so I'm going to put this so it's right from corner to corner, right in the middle of the track, and I'm going to cut this diagonally so we have 4 triangles. Okay, so don't worry, I won't stay on the maths thing very long because maths is absolutely not my thing, but I want to show you how it's useful in this case. So I actually looked up, actually had to Google, because we have different types of triangles in the world. Okay, we have equilateral triangles, which have 3 equal sides. Okay, that one's easy. All right, then we have scalene and isosceles triangles. Now, I couldn't remember which was which. You guys might all be a lot more cleverer than me. But no, I don't have Lily Pond Lane, Marty. I've never been drawn to that one. I mean, I might get it at some point if I can see a specific project I want to do with it, but so far it hasn't dragged me in, that one. So, you know, it's all different, right? Okay, so isosceles triangles are ones with 2 equal sides, and scalene triangles are ones with 3 equal sides. Sorry about all the maths. Okay, these have this side and this side are equal, and this one is longer. Okay, so this is an isosceles triangle. That's what I had to look up because that was the bit I couldn't remember, the difference between isosceles and scalene. Oh my gosh, who would have thought we'd ever need that, right? Oh, that's too funny. Not geometry. I know. Don't worry, I won't ask you. And the other thing I'm not big on measuring things. So, all right. So you can see that these 2 angles, these 2 sides here are the same. This one is longer. So this is the point at the top of my triangle. So what I want to do is I want to grab one of those ends here, one of the corners that is on that long side, and bring it down to, you want to always bring an end down towards your main point. So I would call that the main point, and everything. If I put my triangle like this, the base is at the bottom, it's the longest one, these 2 are shorter, so my point is at the top. Okay, so I'm going to grab this and I'm going to be pulling it down to here. So what I want to do is put a glue dot on this end. Okay, once you get your head around how this works, hang on, the glue dots are on the table. I've been crafting today because I'm getting ready for a big class tomorrow, and I've got stuff everywhere. So the other thing you want to do, if you want all your pieces to face the same way, okay, then you want to have them all sitting facing up on the desk. So this is the side that I want at the back. Okay, so I'm going to hold it this way, and I'm going to bring this corner down. So I'm going to put a glue dot here. I hope I'm not putting you all to sleep. 2 equal sides. There you go. That's a good way to remember it, Nicole. Okay, so I've got my glue dot here on the end. I'm going to pull that down, and I'm going to put my, so it's going to stay like that. Okay, can you see it's just folded down? I'm going to put that one down. I'm going to come to the next one, and I'm going to put my glue dot on the end here. So I'm going to make them all the same. Okay, we're going to bring that end down to that top point, and we're going to put that down. So these are all going to end up looking exactly the same. So this is the end. I want to pop my glue dot on that. I always remember telling my teachers, and well, no, probably not my teachers, but my parents, that I didn't think I'd ever use maths again in my entire life. I don't use it often, but I've been surprised at how often I do use it. So I guess maybe I have to admit that it was maybe a little bit useful after all. So, all right, so this is how they're looking now. So I've got that top point, and I've folded them down. They've got this kind of funny shape. All right, can you see that? Oh, right angle triangles, yes. But wouldn't those could be, scalene is when you've got triangles that, scalene are triangles that don't have any equal sides. So right angle triangles could also be those, right? Except algebra. I've never used that either, Tanya. I know, right? Never, ever. All right. So I want this. So I want to put together my pieces. And what I want to do is I want to have a base for them to go on. So what I like to do is I'm just got a scrap of paper here so you can got a bit of bling attached to it. And I'm going to grab one of my smaller punches, the 1.5 inch punch. And I'm just going to cut out. It doesn't matter what color this is because no one's going to see it. And I'm going to use this. And I'm going to put glue on it. Now, you could use Tombow and cover it in Tombow. The only problem with using Tombow is that it takes a little while to dry. That's not a big drama, but sometimes I actually find for this, I want it to stick straight away. So I'm going to use Seal, and I'm actually going to just put a few bits of Seal on here. I just want my circle to be sticky. Okay, so I've just got some messy old glue on there like that. But you could use Tombow if you wanted to. Right now I'm going to put this, if you have a grid underneath, all right, you may find it suits you to put that in the middle, and that will help you line up where your middle is. So I want that corner there, this corner, to sit right there, okay, like that. And then I'm going to pull in the next one. I'm going to turn it a quarter turn, and I'm going to put that one so its middle lines up next to the other one. And then I'm going to have this one. I'm going to quarter turn it. So you can see it's actually very easy to do this once you've got it all down. Hey, how did I end up with 5? I had one from before, didn't I? And I forgot to put that away. Oh my gosh. All right, so then this one, I'm going to quarter turn it. So if you line it up with the last one, same as the last one, and then do a quarter turn, you can't go wrong. And look how cool that is. Isn't that pretty? I think that's gorgeous. Now, because it's stuck to the circle, that's going to hold it all together, and it's quite sturdy. Okay, so yeah, here endeth the lesson. Sorry, Leslie. Oh, absolutely. Converting imperial to metric is one of the hardest things I have to do, especially when it would be not so bad if the paper size was the same, but because the paper sizes are different, it becomes really, really tricky. All right, I'm going to put this now on a piece underneath. Now I've already cut this piece of boho blue cardstock. There's boho blue in there, so I'm going to put a square behind that just to highlight it and make it stand up a little bit more. You could stick this straight on, you could use dimensionals, doesn't really matter. You've got this space to work with. I think I might just, now in this case when I put this on, I'm not going to use Seal because I don't want to, I would have to flatten it down to do that. So instead I would use Tombow, or I would use dimensionals, but if I just use Tombow, then that's going to be really, really easy. And if you want to line it up on your grid to help you make it straighter, and I'm going to stand above it to make sure I get it in the center, and I'm going to hold it right there just for a few seconds while that dries. All right, now we have got some basic white card here. I'm going to just turn that over. Grab myself a bone folder. I didn't realize I've got another 4 sitting here, and one of those must have escaped. All right, and then this one is going to go right here. Now, can you see what I mean? This is, even though this is 1/4 inch smaller than this one, which is obviously a lot bigger, if I put it so the point goes straight up, it actually goes over the edges a little bit. So if you don't want to do that, what you could do before you glue this down, well, another thing you could do, you could do it on this, you could make it go on the diagonal, and actually that could be a diamond behind, which actually looks quite nice. I don't mind that. In fact, that's what I think I'll do. But if I hadn't glued it down, I could turn it on the square if I wanted to put my square straight down. But I actually like it. What do you guys think? Does that look good like that? I think it looks all right. Okay, so now I'm going to put that, and I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of that. So let's add some dimensionals. Now, the problem this card has is we can't fit it in an envelope to mail it, because, well, you can, but you'd have to flatten it down, and that would kind of, I think, spoil it a little bit, although it looks okay if it's folded over instead of curved over. I've got a cat lurking around on the floor. I'm not sure if he's going to try and make it up to the table or not. All right, so I'm going to pop that down. And let's swoop. I got it down too fast. Let's try again. There we go. That's better now. I'm just going to push my dimensionals down underneath here. I feel if you want to cover the center, see how the center, it looks okay, but it's a little bit messy if you look closely. Okay. What you could do is put some bling in the middle. And for this, the one I really like to use, this, like a larger bling, these are really great. These are the Faceted Gems Trio Pack. And I could use a blue one, which would look okay, or I could use a grey one. These are like silver. So I'm thinking I might use the silver one and pop that right there in the center. And then that's going to, look at that. Doesn't that look better? Can you see that? That looks good, doesn't it? So it covers any messiness that you might have in the middle where you were gluing down all your pieces. All right, so that's your first style of pinwheel. Now, if you wanted to, you could finish this off. I could have put a stick, like I could have stamped a stick or used a piece of, I could use a piece of paper and, just cut a really thin one and have a stick that goes down if I wanted to. Or you could just leave it like this. On this one, you can see I just stamped down the bottom there. Okay, and I think that looks okay. What do you think? What's Marilyn wanted to make it spin? You can split pin. Yes, you could. Absolutely. That would look great, actually. So we could make it spin, and then it would be a little bit interactive. I feel like I want to finish this up. Now we have, let me see. We don't have a stamp set that matches this paper that has any words or anything like that. So I'm going to pull out my Friends for Life one. I'm going to use the Thinking of You because that's a really, or should we use Happy Birthday? Because I feel like it needs a happy sentiment. What do you think? A happy sentiment? What does everyone think? Just looking. You like that, Judy? Ah. I've never heard that song, Marty. So I don't know it. I'll have to go looking. You have a lurking cat too, Valerie? Yeah. Sometimes you don't know. Is he going to go on the table? Is he not? When I'm working by myself, he frequently jumps up because he wants my attention. Actually, both of them do. Merlot tends to be more loud and more insistent when he wants attention. But you want a happy birthday. Yeah, I feel I've got a happy birthday here, but it's not very big. And I think a bigger happy birthday would be good. I'm just looking to see what I have. Happy birthday. I've got a happy birthday. Well, we've got the More Wishes set, but that doesn't have a, we used to have Biggest Wish, and that had a big happy birthday that was really great. But we don't have that one anymore. I'll tell you what works well. There's a greeting in here. There's Birthday Blooms to You. That's a bit bigger. And the Every Thought of You Makes Me Smile. That's a nice happy one. And that would go quite well across the bottom here. So both of those would be good. Let's see. Here's the Birthday Blooms to You. That's a decent size. What do we think? Do we like that? Add the friend? Well, I could. I could do Happy Birthday and then add a big friend. Stamped or dyed? I think stamped in this case. So let's try, we could do the friend because there's enough space to do it. So I'm just going to pull this off and grab myself, oh no, I need a bigger block for this one. This is a decent size stamp, so I'm going to need block E for this. Let's see how that looks. It's almost too big. It's almost too big. Maybe it's not going to fit after all. What do you guys think? Because by the time I add friend, where will I put the happy birthday? I have, I mean, there's lots of things you can do with this, but I could do a happy birthday on a small piece of white and pop that over the top of the word friend. So, you know, it ends up like this over it. But I don't know whether that's what I want to do. I might have a think. All right, I'm going to have a think and I'm going to move on to the next card so we don't waste too much time while I make up my mind about this. And then I will come back to that either during the live if we have time or later. Happy birthday on the top right under the pinwheel. Yeah, we could do that. Okay. And best wishes is good. There is a best wishes, isn't there? There's a big best and then a wishes. That's actually what I did with this one. See, I did best wishes on that one. So, yeah, you can do that. All right. So I'm going to show you a different style of pinwheel card. And this one, if you would like to see the measurements in US sizing, Karen Titus, who's in the US, has a really great template, a blog post about this from a while back. But if you were to search Karen Titus pinwheel card, you would probably see that pop up, I would think. So let's jump this over. And I've just got a piece of basic white card. I'm just going to keep it really simple. All right. So I've done mine, of course, in metric. So I looked at what Karen had done and thought, oh yes, I want to change that to metric sizing. So I've gone and converted that. These are 7 centimeters by 7 centimeter squares. Okay. And we're going to create a template with this. All right. The best thing to do, if you have a glass mat or if you use grid paper underneath your work, you can use the grid to perfectly get this placed. So what you want to do is you want to pick your middle line. Okay, I'm going to come down here where that dotted line is, and I'm going to put my point of my square on this one, and it goes almost exactly to the next set of perforations down the bottom here. And so the 2 points on the side are both on that perforated line. So there's lines here, and this 7 by 7 works really well. I might bring it up a bit. Let's bring it up so you can see it a bit better. Oh, I've got a helicopter outside. I don't know if everyone can hear that. We live quite close to the hospital, and when there's an emergency and the helicopters, the care flight helicopters come in, we hear them very loudly. All right, so you've got this one on the diagonal, and then this one is going to go over the top. So what you want to do, if I stand up, I'm going to pop this over, and on the grid I can see I've got 3 spaces to those perforations, 3 spaces to those, and so that's centered perfectly. So I use my grid to help me position this. I just want one square on top of the other square. And the best way to do this, I have found, is just to pop like a circle of Tombow in the middle. So I'm just going to line it up again, so make sure it's right. And then just like that. And that's lined up exactly right. All right, so can everyone see that? So we've got one square on top of the other square, and that's basically, this is the easiest way to do this. I was trying to do it by, like, I had all these squares because you need 8 squares, okay, and I'm using these sides. Can you see I've chosen 2 pieces of paper, so there's some different colors on the back. I'm just using these 2. I find this works easier if you just use 2. So we've got 4 of the pinky, purpley, bluey ones, and then 4 of the darker flower ones. So you'll need 8 altogether. You just want them to coordinate. But if you use 2 different designs, you're not mucking it up so much. It's easier to work with. Right. So I'm just going to grab one that I like the look of, and I'm going to line them up first. I'm going to put this up so I've got like a slight little border around. Okay, about no more than 2 millimeters, probably a little bit less actually, but anyway, then you get the next one and you line this one up with the next point. Okay, so don't worry if they move around at this point. We'll be gluing them down soon enough. And then you go back to the first design and we put that one on next, and then the next point. So I'm just going with the outside points. That's where I'm putting all my pieces. And all the points, the inside points of the squares all end up in the same spot. This one, then the other color, this one. Actually, if I want, and that's a nice thing, at this point you can sort of turn them so you're getting the colors that you want to have showing on there. And then this one. If I decide I want it facing that way, I can do that. Now, don't put the last one in yet. The other thing is we don't want to, the first one, I always start with the one that points up to the top, okay? You don't want to glue that one down completely, because at the end, when you do this one, you'll be actually putting that one on next, but you'll be tucking it in underneath the first one. So you don't want to glue the first one down when you get started. Does that make sense? But how good does it look? Ah, it is a lot easier, and it's actually a really easy way to do this. All right, so by having the two squares, you just follow basically the shape of the squares, and then it looks like you've gone to all this trouble with trying to work out where you put them, but all you've done is just work your way around the outside, starting with the top one, work your way around the outside. The DSP squares, no, I didn't say. Thanks for reminding me, Jen. I did these 3.3 centimeters. I could have gone 3, but that would have left a bigger border around, and I actually didn't want it any bigger than that, so I went with 3.3, and that's where this 2 centimeter border bit comes from, if that makes sense. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. So that's using metric to do this. All right, so if I want to start with the top one, okay, that's my top. All right, you can use Tombow, or I find Tombow easiest for this stage. All right, I'm just going to do like the half of this, and I'm going to pop this down. I'm going to glue it down, but I'm not gluing down this side of it because I'm going to use that to actually slide the last one in underneath. All right, but now I can go ahead and put the rest of them on. So you might even want to move them out of the way. I'm just going to put glue on the backs. If you find it easier, you might want to use something other than Tombow. Totally up to you. Whoops, next point. Just remember you're going with the point each time. So 1 point, next point, and so on. All right. So you could, for example, if I decide I wanted to use this one next, I could just put some seal on there. Oh, hang on. And I can decide where I want these, which way I want them to face. But all the points will end up in the middle. I hope this is making sense. Is this making sense what I'm doing today, or am I confusing everybody? I hope I'm not confusing anyone. I'm happy to do it a couple of times. We've got plenty of time. So if anyone would prefer I do this again, I can show you one more time if you want to. Or if you think, no, thanks, that's enough, then that's fine too. But how good does that look? I love this. I think it's a really, really cool, easy way to get a pinwheel. And plus this one goes in an envelope, right? So a little bit more work to set it up, but once you've got it sorted, it's really cool. Plus you can do this with scraps. It's a really great way to use up some scraps. Oh, thanks, Leslie. That makes me feel happy. I'm just using seal because for the point of this exercise, it's a little faster. But, you know, the advantage of Tombow is that it gives you a bit more time to, which way do I want to go? A bit more time for it to dry, so you can move them around a little bit more. All right, so then I've got one left. Okay, so this one is going to go here, but I want to tuck it in under the first one. So I want to have it going, just going to move that back a little bit. I want to have it going here, and then this one is going to get glued down over the top of that. So let's do this. And this is where I think this side is where Tombow can be helpful, because, you know, that way you've got time to wriggle it into the right spot before it dries. And now this one, let me get some glue on that last bit now, and that flap goes down over that last one. So this is the one we started with. This is the last one, and I've glued that last one down. Look how good that looks. I think that's so pretty. Oh, good, Jen. Thank you so much. Marty says so too. Good. See, I hope you guys all think about using up your scraps to make these. I think they're so fun. That's very, very cool. And I just thought, now, another suggestion, and this is what I did here with this one, is you can run this through an embossing folder to get this quilted look, okay, which is really cool as well. All right. I'm going to attach this to my piece here, and for this one I'd like it to have it going up, right? So these two pieces of paper I used are both from the Unbounded Love set. I'm not gonna quilt mine, but I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back to pop it up a little bit. Now, here's a tip for you. When you put your dimensionals on, you only probably need 4. Put them right here over this join. It's like an extra, rather than putting them on this piece, put them right over the join of the two pieces. It's like an extra safety. Those pieces, there's no way they're ever coming apart. Okay, I mean, you've already got them glued, but this is like an extra little barrier. Can you see what I've done there? So it makes them super safe. All right. Do you run it through with an embossing folder before or after you glue it all together? And then the very last thing you do is run it through the embossing folder. So I am tempted to do one, seeing as we've got plenty of time today. All right, I'm going to finish this card off first, but I'm going to use the happy birthday from the Unbounded Love, this happy birthday here. Do I have that? Is it in here? Yes, it is. I suddenly had a horrible thought because I used it earlier and I thought, oh, did I put it back? But yes, I did. Goodness me. That's not like me at all. Right, let's pop them on a block, and I'm going to use my Petunia Pop ink pad, and I'm just going to pop that over here in this corner. You can add some, we could add like one of those gems. When I did mine earlier, I actually used a bit of my favorite stripy ribbon, just tied it in a knot and glue dotted that into the middle. So I don't know. What do you think looks better? Do you think it would look better with like one of these gems, or do you think it looks better with a little knot of ribbon? Oh, how did that get there? That's the wrong color. All right, now I've got some Summer Splash little gems on this one. This one I could do the same because they've got some of that color in here as well. So either way. Yes, the DSP squares were 3 by 3, 3.3 by 3.3 if you're doing metric. But basically, okay, so my squares are 7 by 7. If I made these squares 3.5, okay, then I would have no room left over for a little bit of border. Okay, so by making them a little bit smaller, 3.3, I have enough room for a 2mm border. That's how that works. You like both, Elaine? Well, you're no help, are you? Because I need a decision. They're both pretty. I know they are, right? They are very pretty. I've had a couple of people say that. So there you go. 2 almost identical cards. I just used different DSP from the same pack. So I think they look really good. If we're going to do the ribbon, I just need to grab some and give it a tie. Let's see, as I've got them right here and I don't have to go looking for the ribbon. Let's just pop a bit of bling in the middle for this one. All right, so that would be this. I'm going with the silvery ones because they're really nice, and that's how that would look. All right, can you see how that looks? Bling, said Sheila. Good, that's what I did. And Leslie said a gem. So there we go. We've gone with a gem, and that's what everyone was saying anyway. And I didn't even see those comments. I must be reading your minds, girls. All right. I'm tempted to do one more and run it through the embossing folder just to show you how that works. What do you think? Should I do the same colors? Should I? Or should I pick some different ones? We could. Let me have a quick look and see what we've got that would go really well. I'm thinking of doing front and back. Ooh, how about some of the Winter Meadow paper? That would be really nice. This one has, those go really nicely together. So let's do that. And I'm going to grab some matching cardstock. So Blueberry Bushel would be a really good color, even though one of the papers has quite a bit of the Blueberry Bushel, but I think that's okay. So I'm going to do this one from scratch. So 7 centimeters wide by 7 and 7, straight out of the scrap drawer. And then what we're going to do is we're going to position this on my vertical part of my grid. just like that. And I'm going to grab some Tombow. It is beautiful paper. Blue for Father's Day. We didn't think about doing this for Father's Day, but we could, I suppose. I'm sure there's fathers out there that like pinwheels too. And then this one, I'm going to stand up to get this one in the right position. Up there. Give it a moment to dry, and then while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to cut my pieces. So this is the Winter Meadow paper, another one of the papers on sale this month. Super, super good. I'm going to do these to be 3.3 right there. And I was going to cut the whole thing down, but I actually probably don't need to. I'll just cut a couple of pieces. 3 point. Oh, I actually am going to. I'm going to need 8. So let me do a whole strip. What am I doing? Forgot how many I was going to need. All right, 3.3 by 3.3. So 1, 2. Oh, I messed that up down the bottom a little bit. Oh well, that's all right. I will just cut that bit off if I messed up the edge of it. And then we're going to do 1, 2. And if you cut 2 pieces at the same time, that's faster. So, you know, I should have done that. But anyway, didn't think of that until I was halfway through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I've cut that bit off. It's not going to be enough. What's the bit? 6. Oh, it might be 7. And 8 is just enough. How about that? All right. Put on my squares. So I want to have 1, 2. Now see, some of these, like that one's got lots of berries on it. This one doesn't have any. So I might try and pick the ones out that have got lots of berries for my, and then it doesn't really matter. But like sometimes when you're choosing the patterns, like that one, I think it'll be better to use the other side because there's no berries. The others probably doesn't matter. That one's hardly any berries. I might use that one and doesn't really matter, that one. And so we've got 4 that are this color and 4 that are this color. We're using both sides of the paper, yeah? That'd be the problem though. If you cut 2 pieces at the same time, you've got to get it right. No, it's Blueberry Bushel, Sheila, which is a color I don't use. I love Blueberry Bushel because I love blue, but I don't use Blueberry Bushel very often, and I'm not sure why. So I'm going to pick one of these and I'm going to pop it right up here towards the top, okay? And in the interest of time, I'm just going to use seal, but you could use whatever adhesive floats your boat. Oh, I just realized I'm only meant to put down half of this. I don't want to put down the whole lot, so I'm going to do the first one. Remember last time I arranged them first? This time I'm being a bit brave and I'm just going for it. But, you know, if you want to arrange them first to make sure you're happy with the arrangement before you start gluing, then that makes a lot of sense. All right, so then this one. So I'm just going to turn it around and we'll keep moving. So you can glue all of them except the first one. First one is the only one that you just want to glue half or not even very much of it, because that one is the one that you have to lift at the end. All right, so I'm leaving a little bit, a couple of millimeter gap on each one. Now, I think I was talking to Ellen earlier. She had something else on today, and as a result, she was going to be late on her video today. And she said we would probably overlap. She might not be finished. So some of you may have come straight from having just finished watching Ellen. So I don't know. She normally goes live at 12 o'clock on a Tuesday, and normally we don't clash, but today we did a bit. All right, so that's when those ones almost line up, and then we've got to put our last one on, but we've got to lift that first flap, which is not glued down. Okay, and it's going to go right in here. So and this one I'm going to run through an embossing folder. And I just want, the reason I'm doing this is I want to show you which embossing folders are suitable for this, because not all of them are. Okay, so I'm lining this up so I've got a little bit of a border, and then I'm going to put some glue. It's easier for me to put a Tombow behind this flap. And let's just push that down, and it's cute. What do you think, guys? Do we like this? I love the Winter Meadow set. I think it's such beautiful paper. Really like frosty and lovely. Isn't that pretty? All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this through an embossing folder. But you don't, not just any embossing folder. So you're looking for an embossing folder. Let's turn to the page in the catalogue that has, where did I put the catalogue? Here it is. That has all the embossing folders. And that's right up here near the back somewhere. It does actually have, if you can't find it, do what I usually do and turn to the index. And where does it say embossing folders? Embossing folders, page 129. So these ones are all on one page. There they are, okay? However, there's a couple that are not. We have a couple of online exclusive, like in Australia. I don't know about other markets, but in Australia, last time I checked, and let me check again, the basics embossing folders were still available. I'm just double checking that they still are. Oh, I wonder if they're not. Just doing a search. Oh, no, they are still there. They're called Basics 3D Embossing Folders. They're $53 for three embossing folders. So they're actually reasonable value. But they are a set of, I'll show you the first one. Two of them would be suitable for this, okay? One of them wouldn't. I'm just going to bring in all my embossing folders. I've got them in a bucket like this. This is what they look like. This one is the one that I find best for if you want something to look quilted. This is a really good one. It looks like when you run something through this, it looks like hand stitching. It's beautiful for giving you an embossed look. Okay, it's a quilted look. This is also in the same set, but this one has too much space between the dots. It is not good for this. Okay, the third one is this one, and this one is okay. All right, doesn't go, I don't think it's as good as the little flowers, but this one is a cross stitch, and this one like a cross hatch design, and that will also. So you're looking for an all over design. You're not looking for something like this that has lots of space between the different elements. Okay, that won't work for this. You want something that is an all over design with no particular spaces. So that is what you're looking for. We do have quite a few. So for example, we have the I've gone blank. What is this one called? Oh my goodness. You know, I love it, and I just can't even remember what it's called right this second, but I'll look it up in here. Where is it? This one, number 7, distress tile. Okay, that one would work. Okay, the basket weave, the cane weave, that would be okay. The dashing designs, absolutely, that one will work well. See, it's an all over pattern, no particular gaps in between the elements. The dots here won't work. I wouldn't probably go with exposed brick, too much differences. You want something that's like the same pattern all the way through, and most of ours are not like that. You might get away with the wood grain, but it might not look particularly quilted. Does that make sense? Goodness me, I hope it does. I sometimes, listen to myself rambling on and wondering if it's making any Any distress type? Yes, thank you, thank you. Eyelet, that's this one. It's okay, but I think there's a little bit too much pattern, like too much room space in between the patterns. You want to not really be able to see much of the background at all. You want it to be mostly pattern, very little background. So that's why some are better than others. But the one I really love the most is the flowers, the little flowers from, so this one. This is the one I think is the best for this kind of thing. It's all over, there's no spaces, works really well. Okay. All right, so let me bring in my machine, and I'm going to zoom out a bit, which is always risky because that's when you start seeing the rest of my messy desk. But oh well, that's life, right? So you want to get rid of all your clear plates and bits, and all you want is your base plate, just your base plate. That's number one, this one right here. You don't want anything else. We're going to put that down at the bottom. Then we're going to grab this piece that we've just made. Remember what this looks like right now with the paper, and you're going to put it inside your embossing folder of choice. This is my embossing folder of choice, but whichever one you choose. Okay, I'm going to line it. That doesn't really matter because the pattern's going to be all over it anyway. Can you already see how it's going to look? I think it's really good. Put that on top of your base plate, and then we're going to need our specialty plate on top of that. So here's my specialty plate. This is specialty plate number 4. This one comes with the machine, but you can buy it separately. If you want to use 3D folders, you need a plate of this size. We used to have a blue plate that we used with the Big Shot. This is the one they sell now with this machine. And you don't have to go backwards and forwards if you don't want to. All right. I'm going to lower this so you can get a closer look. And ta-da! What's it look like? It's going to look good. Look, it's like it presses it all together, and it's lovely. One easy to work with piece. How good does that look? Don't you think? It really looks like it's been like embroidered or quilted. So nice. And then you could use that on a card and have a lot of fun with it. I was thinking that might be nice on a scrapbook page. Wouldn't that be good? It's giving me an idea. Something really different. So there we go. That's what we've done today. Okay, so we've got a couple of, this is another one I did with the quilting just to show how it looks with those bright colors. Let's move this out of the way. Then we have this little guy that I did earlier. We have the one that we did today that I have to work out. What should I put on here? I still haven't decided. I'm still thinking about what I want to put on here. We could do the happy birthday. You know, the happy birthday that we used on the main card that I've managed to lose and don't even know where I put it. Goodness me. Did I drop it on the floor? I think I did. No? Oh. I misplaced the card I just made. The 2 cards. Didn't we have 2 cards? We did have 2 cards. Hang on. Let me move. Oh, here they are. Found them. They knew they couldn't be far away. All right, so that's these. So this is what we got up to today. These ones. And this little guy. What do you think? Does it inspire you to want to have a go and see if you could do it yourself? You can come back through with your embossing folder. It doesn't matter one way or the other, really. Has anyone got plans to make one themselves? Because I'd love to hear if you do. And once you start making these, they're super easy. Really easy to do. Yay, I'm glad you're going to make some. That would be awesome. Just remember, we have some beautiful papers that have front and back that go together. Or, like in this case, I used 2 different pieces of paper because the front and the backs didn't go so well. So I actually used different papers for those. Totally up to you. You know, experiment, have a play, and see what you like and what floats your boat when it comes to this kind of stuff. But I hope... Might do some in the morning. Awesome. You should go to bed now because it's very late where you are, Judy. I know it is. Oh, thanks, Dawn. I hope you do have a go. Ah, very good. All right, you guys. Well, let's switch back back over to me. I hope that you've enjoyed that one today. It's something a little bit different, a technique that sort of, it's not really truly a technique, but it's certainly something I wanted to show you. So it's certainly worthy of the Technique Tuesday. If anyone has any thoughts on different ideas that they'd like to do with these, I'd love to hear them. If you're in my VIP group, my private group, I'll put those details up on the screen so you can see. If you're in Australia, you can join my private Facebook group, and that's this one, Linda Dolke's private Stampin' VIP group. Silly name for a group. I really need to work on maybe changing that, but that's what it's currently called. If you go looking for that, you will find it, and as long as you're in Australia, you can join. Okay. Now, for anybody else who's not in Australia, you could perhaps get onto my blog. I send out a newsletter usually once a week, although last week I was so busy I didn't get one out, so there'll be one going out in the next couple of days. So if you wanted to be on the newsletter list, the point of the newsletter list, I post in there links to videos on tutorials. I post creations that I've made. I update on specials and promotions and what's going on. So hopefully you find them really, I put a lot of time into making them really newsy and good value for you. So hopefully you'll find them that way as well. So you can sign up for the newsletter either by the link that will be under the video, this YouTube video after the end of the video, or you can go to lhiggins.blogspot.com and there is a sign up form to join the newsletter list right there. So either way, doesn't matter. All roads lead to Rome, right? All roads lead to the newsletter. All right, you guys. Well, I hope you've had fun. I did. I think that was really enjoyable, and I really liked the cards that we made. I think they were fun. Please feel free to comment and let me know what you think too, and I will see you on the next video. I'll be live again Friday evening. Friday evening, there's also a global video hop video going up. You know how I sometimes have those posted, scheduled for a Friday night as well. So you may find there's two things to watch on Friday night. All right, you guys. See you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.